It was Christmas Eve when my boss looked at me and said, "You're lucky to still have this job." I was standing in the break room of a retail store that was already closed. The mall was empty. The only sound was the cleaning crew vacuuming outside. I had just asked him if I could have Christmas Day off. Not the whole week, not even 2 days, just Christmas. My daughter was 8. She wanted me to watch her open presents in the morning. She'd been asking me about it for weeks, and he looked at me like I'd asked for the moon. "You're lucky to still have this job." That was 3 years ago, and 3 years ago I believed him. But here's the thing about being told you're lucky to have something. Eventually, you realize you're not the lucky one. They are. My name is irrelevant. What matters is that I was a store manager at a mid-tier retail chain for 6 years. And for 3 of those years, I worked every single holiday while my boss took time off with his family. And then I found the clause in our employee handbook that he clearly never read. This is that story. Let me give you context. I started working at this store in 2017. It was a clothing retail chain, not high-end, not discount. Middle of the mall, the kind of place where people buy work pants and sweaters they'll forget about in 6 months. I was hired as an assistant manager. Within a year, I was promoted to store manager. The pay was okay, not great, but it was stable. And stability mattered because I was a single mom with a daughter in elementary school. My boss, let's call him Greg, was the district manager. He oversaw 6 stores in the region. And he was the kind of manager who talked a lot about leadership and team culture, but never actually worked a holiday himself. Every Thanksgiving, every Christmas, every New Year's Day, every 4th of July, I was scheduled. Not because we were short-staffed, not because I volunteered, because Greg decided that as the store manager, I needed to set an example. And for the first 2 years, I accepted it. I told myself it was part of the job. I told myself it would get better. I told myself that if I worked hard enough, eventually I'd earn the flexibility to take a holiday off. I was wrong. Year 1, I worked Thanksgiving. My daughter spent the day with my mom. I got home at 9 p.m. after the Black Friday prep was done, and she was already asleep. Year 1, I worked Christmas. My mom brought my daughter to the mall to see me during my lunch break. She was wearing the new coat I'd bought her. She asked me when I was coming home. I told her soon. I didn't get home until 8 p.m. Year 2 was the same. Thanksgiving, Christmas, New Year's, Easter, 4th of July, every single one. And every single time I asked Greg if I could have one of those days off, he said the same thing. "I need you there. You're the manager. The team looks to you." But Greg was never there. Thanksgiving, he was at his in-laws' cabin in Tahoe. Christmas, he was skiing in Colorado with his kids. New Year's, he was at some party in San Francisco that he posted about on Facebook. He never worked a holiday. But I was lucky to have this job. It was October 2020 when I decided I wasn't doing it again. My daughter was 8. She was old enough to understand that other kids' moms stayed home on Christmas. She was old enough to ask me why I couldn't, and I didn't have a good answer anymore. So in early November, I sent Greg an email. Professional, polite. "Hi, Greg. I wanted to request Christmas Day off this year. I've worked the last 3 Christmases and would really appreciate the opportunity to spend the day with my daughter. Let me know if this works. Thanks." He responded 2 days later. "Not possible. We need management on site for the holiday. You know how it is," I wrote back. "I understand coverage is important, but I haven't had a Christmas off in 3 years. Could we discuss a rotation system so everyone gets a chance?" His response: "We'll talk about it in January. For now, plan to work Christmas." I should have known that "we'll talk about it" meant I'm not changing anything, but I kept hoping. December came. The schedule went up. Christmas Eve, 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. Me. Christmas Day, 11 a.m. to 5 p.m. Me. I went to Greg's office the next day. Greg, I really need Christmas off. I've asked twice now. My daughter, he cut me off. Look, I get it. Everyone wants holidays off, but you're the manager. The team needs you there. If you can't handle that responsibility, maybe management isn't the right fit for you. I stared at him. So if I don't work Christmas, you'll demote me? He didn't say yes, but he didn't say no. He just shrugged and said, I'm saying that part of being a manager is being there when the team needs you. I don't make the rules. I walked out of his office and sat in my car in the parking lot for 20 minutes. And that's when I decided I was done asking nicely. Because here's the thing about people who say, I don't make the rules. They do. They just don't want to admit they're choosing to enforce the ones that benefit them. That night, I went home and opened the employee handbook. I'd signed it when I was hired, like everyone does. You flip to the last page, sign your name, hand it back to HR, and forget about it. But I hadn't read it. Not really. So I read it. Page by page, section by section. Dress code, break policy, PTO accrual, sick leave, bereavement leave. And then I got to page 47. Holiday pay and scheduling. I'll read you the exact wording. All non-exempt employees who work on company-recognized holidays, Thanksgiving, Christmas, New Year's Day, Independence Day, Memorial Day, Labor Day, are entitled to time and a half pay. Exempt employees, including salaried managers, are not eligible for holiday pay. However, per company policy, no employee, exempt or non-exempt, may be required to work more than 2 consecutive company-recognized holidays without at least one holiday off in between. I read it again. No employee may be required to work more than 2 consecutive company-recognized holidays without at least one holiday off. I grabbed my old schedules. Thanksgiving 2018, Christmas 2018, New Year's 2019, Memorial Day 2019, 4th of July 2019, Labor Day 2019, Thanksgiving 2019, Christmas 2019, New Year's 2020, Memorial Day 2020, 4th of July 2020, Labor Day 2020, Thanksgiving 2020. 2 weeks ago, I'd worked that too. 16 holidays in 3 years without a single one off. I wasn't just over the limit, I was obliterating it. And Greg? Greg had scheduled me for Christmas again, which would be 17. I sat there with the handbook open on my kitchen table, and I started laughing. Not because it was funny, but because I finally had something he didn't. Proof. The next morning, I didn't go to Greg, I went to HR. Our HR manager, let's call her Linda, worked out of the corporate office. I emailed her directly. Subject line, question about holiday scheduling policy. Body. Hi Linda, I'm reviewing the employee handbook and wanted to clarify the policy on page 47 regarding holiday scheduling. It states that no employee may be required to work more than 2 consecutive company-recognized holidays without a holiday off. I've worked the last 16 holidays without a break. Could you help me understand how this policy is being applied? Thanks. I attached my schedules as proof. I hit send. Linda responded 3 hours later. Thank you for bringing this to my attention. I'll review the schedules and get back to you by end of week. 2 days later, she called me. I've reviewed your schedules. You're right. This is a violation of company policy. According to the handbook, you should have been given at least 7 holidays off over the past 3 years. I'm escalating this to the regional director. In the meantime, you are not required to work Christmas. I asked her if Greg knew. She said, not yet. But he will. That afternoon, Greg called me. His voice was tight. I just got a call from HR. You went over my head? I said, I asked a question about company policy. You could have come to me first. I did, twice. You told me no. Silence. Then he said, fine, you don't have to work Christmas, but don't expect any favors from me going forward. I said, I'm not asking for favors, Greg. I'm asking for what's in the employee handbook, the one you signed off on. He hung up, and that's when I realized something. He'd never read it either. Christmas came, I stayed home. I watched my daughter open presents. We made pancakes. We watched movies. We didn't go anywhere. We just stayed home. It was the first Christmas I'd had off in 4 years. And I cried. Not because I was sad, because I was angry. Angry that I'd waited so long. Angry that I'd believed him when he said I was lucky. Angry that he'd made me feel like asking for one day with my kid was asking for too much. But I wasn't done yet. In January, Linda called me again. The regional director reviewed your case. We're implementing a new holiday rotation system for all district managers and store managers. No one can work more than 2 holidays in a row without a break. Greg has been formally reprimanded, and you're being given compensatory PTO for the holidays you should have had off. I got 4 extra weeks of paid time off. Greg got a written warning in his file. But here's the part that really mattered. 2 months later, I got promoted. Not by Greg, by the regional director. They moved me to a different district. Better store, better pay, better boss. And Greg got reassigned to a smaller region, fewer stores, less responsibility. I heard through the grapevine that he complained about it, said it wasn't fair, said he'd been there for 12 years and didn't deserve to be punished over one scheduling issue. One scheduling issue. 16 holidays. 3 years. One kid who asked me every Christmas why I couldn't stay home. But sure, Greg, one issue. I don't tell this story to brag. I tell it because I want you to understand something. When someone tells you you're lucky to have this job, they're telling you they think you have no other options. They're telling you they believe you'll accept anything because you're afraid to lose what you have. And sometimes they're right. Sometimes you do need that job. Sometimes you can't afford to quit. Sometimes you have to swallow it and keep going. But here's what I learned. You don't have to quit to fight back. You just have to read the contract. Because most of the time, the people who have power over you don't actually know the rules. They just know you won't check. Greg never read that handbook. He assumed he could schedule me however he wanted because I wouldn't push back. And for 3 years, he was right. But the minute I opened that handbook and found the clause he'd ignored, the power shifted. I didn't yell, I didn't quit, I didn't make a scene. I just sent one email. And that was enough. So, if you're in a job where someone is taking advantage of you, where they schedule you unfairly, where they deny you time off, where they make you feel like you're asking for too much when you're just asking for what's fair, read your contract, read your employee handbook, read the policies they handed you when you were hired and never looked at again. Because I promise you, somewhere in there, there's a clause they forgot about. And when you find it, you don't need to announce it. You don't need to threaten them. You just use it. Quietly. My daughter is 12 now. She doesn't remember the Christmases I missed, but I do. And I'll never miss another one. Not for a boss who thinks I'm lucky. Not for a company that doesn't respect boundaries. Not for anyone. Because here's the truth. They weren't doing me a favor by employing me. I was doing them a favor by staying. And the day I realized that was the day everything changed. This is Glass Floor. If you've ever been told you're lucky to have this job, you're in the right place. Subscribe for more stories like this, because revenge doesn't have to be loud, it just has to be smart.